For more than 30 years, organizations across the world have been focusing on diversity and more recently have recognized the value of shifting their cultures for increased inclusion. Recognizing that diversity and inclusion go hand in hand, one cannot exist without the other. As we recruit diverse talent, we lose the ability to retain this talent if they do not feel included and valued for their own unique individual contributions. And this then turns our onboarding process into a revolving door. Just remember that while you may not yet be at your desired point in the work, any and all progress towards improving our cultures brings great rewards and benefits to not only our employees, but to the organization and our clients as well. Driving for improved diversity and inclusion is certainly a win-win on all fronts. We'll now take a few minutes and review just a few of the benefits we receive as we progress in the work of diversity and inclusion. Diversity is a key driver of innovation. Diversity is a required component for organizations looking to find global success. A diverse and inclusive culture is crucial for companies that want to attract and retain top talent. Diverse ideas from a diverse workforce lead to new ideas, new services, and new products. A diverse workforce differentiates businesses from their competitors. An organization led by leaders who come from a wide range of diverse experiences are proven to show more successful than those trapped in the mode of groupthink. And yes, diversity is a legal and ethical requirement. Research shows that gender-diverse companies are 15% more likely to outperform their peer group. Ethnical diverse companies are 35% more likely to outperform their peer group, and inclusive teams outperform their peers by 80% in team-based assessments. J.W. Marriott teaches that creating an environment of inclusion is how we take care of our employees. As he states, if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your customers, and your business will take care of itself. And yes, many studies show that companies who focus on recruiting and retaining diverse talent into their leadership ranks show strong financial returns and outperform those companies who do not. Good news is that today, diversity and inclusion efforts are a given in most companies. Companies are no longer paying lip service to the value of a diverse workforce. Majority of companies have programs and policies in place to recruit, retain diverse talent, and are working diligently to build cultures of inclusion. Though intentions around the work are showing strong, most all organizations are still struggling to hit their desired results, which refers us back to one of my earlier statements. The employee experience is not equal. And until it becomes that way, all people leaders own the responsibility to keep driving the work forward. As you continue this course, I'll be sharing techniques designed to help identify gaps in the work you are already doing and ways to seek for solving your current opportunities. I've had the opportunity to work with many teams across the United States, both in direct managerial roles and in human resource support capacities. Through my experience and through my personal studies of learning, I coined an analogy that compares the work organizations do in the D&I space to air flight. I know, crazy sauce. You may be asking, how does air flight and diversity and inclusion go together? Well, hang with me and you'll see how profound the correlation really is, as it helps to bring to life the 4 areas of awareness and focus each leader must have to truly be successful in the work of building a diverse and inclusive culture. Let's say this airplane represents our desired culture. There are 4 forces that affect air flight, and these same 4 forces align with the work you each are doing or need to do to help lift your diversity and inclusion culture to the highest level: drag, weight, thrust, and lift. As I review my definition of each, think through the lens of D&I, and you'll see where I'm going with this analogy and how these same forces relate back to our work environments. Just a quick call out, this is a great whiteboarding activity. If you want to teach this concept out to other teams, you can utilize this analogy to help initiate conversation around the work you are doing. Drag is the force that acts opposite to the direction of motion. Drag is caused by friction and differences in air pressure. As a quick example, drag shows up in our cultures when poor behaviors by team members evolve into discrimination and harassment of others. It could show up as outside influences. A good way to remember this is to just think, what is dragging us down? what is working in opposition of your efforts around D&I. The drag most likely will include many of the opportunities you identified while reviewing our prior model's checkpoints. Thrust is the force that propels a flying machine in the direction of motion. Engines produce thrust. Again, looking through the D&I lens, the thrust is the work leaders and all team members put into play to keep the culture and the work moving forward. Again, if you're whiteboarding, this would be a great time to dialogue with your team around this and identify what is missing in this effort, what efforts need recognition and which need extra attention. Weight is the force of gravity. It acts in a downward direction. For our analogy, weight represents the weight of the responsibility on the organization to ensure a diverse and inclusive culture for everyone. It is a heavy responsibility. Often it shows as the weight and worry of being legally compliant and the heavy responsibility of protecting your employees from discrimination and the responsibility of keeping your company free from third-party mitigation. Again, a great kickoff to a conversation or discussion with your leaders to talk about and identify the emotions they feel around the heavy weight of responsibility leading a diverse, inclusive culture is. Now, the last force is lift. Lift is the force that acts at a right angle to the direction of motion through the air. Lift is created by differences in air pressure. I'm going to spend a bit of extra time breaking this force down, as lift truly represents the work needed when we talk about the how. How do we organically grow or lift our cultures to be more diverse and inclusive? Lift represents the effort needed to keep the work airborne and moving forward. The letter L in our acronym reminds us to always start first with the leaders. As always, everything starts with the top, right? Executive level leaders on down. Leaders must go on their own learning journey, align their behaviors and communication to ensure they model and engage in all D&I efforts. We all have seen the negative impact it makes when our employees see one of their leaders behave in opposition of what the company training's taught. The key ingredient to organically growing your D&I culture is helping leaders become more inclusive in their leadership style. Next, the I reminds us that to be successful in the work, organizations must commit to increased resources to support the work. Not only just monetary resources, but people resources as well. F then moves us into the stage of fixing the gaps. In our prior module, we walked through the checkpoints to help us identify where the culture gaps are. This stage is where we start implementing the solve for these gaps. Some might think, well, shouldn't this come first? But you truly can't work towards the solve without leaders engaged in the work and the organization's full commitment to increase their resources in support of the work you do. And the last is to train, talk, and testify. I know I'm lifting this piece up strong, and I know you know that when I mention train, I'm not just referring to rolling out an e-learning about diversity and inclusion and then require all employees to take it. That would be an easy breezy process, right? No, that's just a quick compliance checklist item and certainly will not be effective or impactful as a standalone training. We'll dig a bit deeper into this topic during our next module. And just as a reminder, lift is our starting point. Lift is the force that activates motion.